All right, Yalians, this is Mr. Dalton coming to you live from Long Island. Today we're looking at lesson number 2, MLTP number 2 of how did Columbus's voyages affect the people of Europe, Africa, and the Americas? The first vocab word is conquistador. That's a noun. It's a Spanish conqueror during the 16th century. When Spanish conquistador Francisco Pizarro came to South America in 1532, he easily took control over the Incan Empire. Note their uniforms. The next vocab word is immunity, something that we might be hearing right now on the news. So immunity is the ability to resist an illness or disease. Conquistadors had immunity to diseases like smallpox because those diseases have been around for centuries. Unfortunately, the natives did not have the same immunity, and disease easily killed them off. So as you might have heard in elementary school of Christopher Columbus. So Christopher Columbus sailed across the Atlantic. He brought 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, and they were set sail for the Indies on a new direct route led by Christopher Columbus in the year 1492. So if you've heard the song 7-14-92, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, that is what they're talking about. Columbus landed in this new world and was greeted by a group of people who called themselves the Taino. Columbus renamed their island San Salvador and claimed it for Spain. The Taino were extremely generous and friendly with the Europeans. Christopher Columbus and a lot of the explorers were searching for 3 things. They wanted gold, they wanted to spread God, and they wanted glory. The search for gold was one of the main reasons for Columbus's journey. Columbus found no gold on San Salvador, so he went on to explore other islands. He explored the Bahamas, Cuba, and Hispaniola, the island that has the country Dominican Republic on it. He claimed all of these islands for Spain, and in doing so, also mentioned that the people would be easy to convert or change to Christianity. By 1493, Columbus was no longer an explorer, but an empire builder. He would bring soldiers, priests, and colonists to the Americas that would impose or force their will on the Native Americans who lived there. There was a very sad impact on the Native Americans that were living in these areas. Europeans learned the advantages of using the plantation system and the economic benefits of using forced labor, meaning they forced the natives to do the work that they wanted. They learned to use weapons to dominate or bully people who had less sophisticated or advanced weapons. The Taino submitted to Columbus, but eventually revolted. The Spanish response was swift and cruel, meaning very mean. Europeans brought deadly diseases that devastated Native Americans, who had not developed any natural immunity to these diseases. The disease that we're currently dealing with is the coronavirus in today's world. Colonization is the establishment of distant settlements controlled by a parent country. The slave trade begins. As more natives died of disease, European settlers turned to Africa for slaves. As demand for Africans grew, the price of enslaved Africans rose, meaning people paid more money for slaves. More Europeans joined the slave trade, and African slavery was becoming an essential part of European American economic system, meaning how they made money. So the slave trade would begin in Africa and then would travel across to North America, South America, and this area in Central America as well. So there was an impact on the Europeans. They called it the Columbian Exchange, not after the country Columbia, but after Christopher Columbus. So it's the widespread movement of crops, animals, disease, culture, and ideas between the Eastern and Western hemispheres. As we remember from earlier in the year, the Western Hemisphere contains North America and South America, and then the Eastern Hemisphere contained Europe, Africa, and Asia. As you can see, besides tobacco, there were a lot of yummy products that came from the New World, which is North America and South America, and it traveled across to Europe, Asia, and Africa. They brought things like pumpkins, turkeys, sweet potatoes, avocados, potatoes, tomatoes, corn, beans, and vanilla. Coming from Europe, going to the Old World, going to the New World, were things like coffee, peaches, pears, oranges, limes, honeybees, bananas, sugar, grains like wheat and barley and oats to make cereal, livestock like cattle, sheep, pigs, and horses, and unfortunately, disease. Diseases like smallpox, influenza, malaria, and all types of other sicknesses all spread and killed a lot of the natives. So there was an impact on the Europeans. The exploration of the Americas inflamed or started up European rivalries, meaning they were competing with each other. Two such countries were Spain and Portugal. Pope Alexander VI, who was originally from Spain, stepped in to avoid war between the two countries. They agreed to the Treaty of Tordesillas. That was an imaginary line drawn in the Atlantic to divide the world. So anything west of this line to the left would be owned by Spain, and anything east of this line to the right would be owned by Portugal. As we can see, I think Spain might have won out on that deal. Please watch the Brain Pops on the Columbian Exchange, the Conquistadors, and Christopher Columbus for more information about this. Now, please go to the activity in Google Classroom, click on Classwork, find the handout, log in, type your answers into the spaces provided, and when you're done, go to the top right and press Turn In. Thank you, and I can't wait to see your answers.